Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sampson and David Gomez with another episode of Veterans in Politics. Today, our guest is going to be Rene Cantù, candidate and current sit-in Nevada Board of Education, District Number 3. But before we get to Nevada Board of Education, what's they call it?
Nevada State Board of Education.
Cantù. Is that what they call you?
Yep. Rene Cantù.
Like a regent. So what would be your title?
Member Cantù.
Member Cantù. Okay.
Apparently so.
Mr. Gomez, thank you for joining us today.
It's my pleasure to be here.
You know, you're the co-host. You're not one of the regular co-hosts, so thank you. Tell us a little bit about you, and then a rant.
A rant?
Yeah. No, but give us a bio so people know who you are.
Well, I'm David Gomez. I'm the son of Carpinteria. We were built back here in 1977. Been here ever since. I'm also a father of 7 children. I run
busy.
Yeah, I don't have color TV. And then,
But you still have those big box TVs, not the one on the wall?
No, I still got the one that doesn't work. It's got that old coax cable in it.
With the rabbit ears and things?
Yeah, man, I got to move it every now and then. But I got tired of moving it, so I just went back to bed.
Oh, okay. Sounds like a bad date.
That's so funny. But I own businesses here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and east side of Las Vegas. We do document preparation, immigration, all different types of services. I used to own a car dealership and different other types of businesses post-COVID. COVID didn't help too well with that. My son is running for Clark County Commissioner, District D. I believe it is. Yes, it is. Junior, yes. And he is one of the youngest candidates in the country to run for a position like that. So he'll turn 21 right when he gets into office, where he can sit on some of those boards.
Give him a whiskey sour, rum and coke.
Man, I'm going to leave that up to you. You're going to take care of that one for me. But, I'm married with the children. And then I also ran for office. I ran for city councilman. I also ran for state senator. And, it's a challenge, but I love my state. I love everything about it. I wouldn't trade Nevada for any other state. We are who we are. We are battle born.
I can tell Tallahassee you're not coming down there.
No. Okay. Yeah. So it's been a long walk, long journey. Running businesses and doing things out here. I'm also the Clark County School District Bridge Commissioner. And as a bridge commissioner, we help with the culture and climate with parents and negotiations and different things in those aspects.
Man, you got a long-ass bio, know that?
Yeah, but I don't think it's longer than yours. But I'm trying to keep it as fast as possible. That's enough.
All right, what's your rant? You got a rant?
Do I have a rant?
Yeah, weather too hot?
No, I feel that we don't have enough of anything to supply the buildings that we're providing for everything, our infrastructure growth in our city, our county, our state. And there's some things that just have to be put in place to help with this, because nobody really wants to talk about the water situation. I don't want to run out of water.
I call up about that. I forgot who I talked to. He's the guy that's in charge of the water. And he says there's enough water to last 100 years.
Yeah, okay. Which one was that?
That's what I heard, like about a year and a half.
100 years?
100 years, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Apparently there's some aqueducts and all that deep in the ground that we haven't even touched.
Yeah, well, we do have...
Well, then Lake Mead keeps going down.
Down and down. We keep seeing planes and bodies and different things. Yeah. Something back from the 40s and 50s.
Mm-hmm. They're still looking for Jimmy the Fingers, so I don't know. They're not finding them.
Maybe they just left his finger in there.
So your rant's over?
Oh, yeah, my rant's over. It just kind of went into the aqueduct.
Okay, very cool. Member Cantù, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Tell us about you.
Let's see. I'm a member of the Nevada State Board of Education.
How long now?
4 years.
Okay.
So I ran in 2020. No endorsements, COVID, and just went out there and hustled.
Who'd you run against?
It was Mark Newburn.
Oh, I know him.
Yeah, so Mark Newburn, good guy, got to know him.
He was the incumbent.
Yeah, he was the
You
incumbent.
took him out?
I did.
Man,
Sir.
you were rough.
It was easy during COVID, man. It was not, it was a different game. But no, he's a good man. He stayed on the board. He was appointed by Governor Sisolak to stay on the board after I got elected. So that was good. So what else? I'm the executive director for JAG.
He's on the board after you got elected? What does that mean?
So I was elected, right? I took his seat.
Yeah.
And
snatched that up.
I received a call from Sisolak, Steve Sisolak, that he was thinking of appointing Mark. Was it Elaine Wynn was stepping down? And so he was going to appoint him into Elaine's seat.
Until the next election.
And it's like, are you okay with, like, yeah, no problem.
But don't you have districts? Aren't you? And isn't that where you guys live?
Well, that's a great question. So on the State Board of Ed, you have 4 elected positions by congressional districts. So CD 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Right.
And then you have appointed positions. So it's kind of a hybrid board. So you have people appointed by the governor, the speaker, by the superintendents, by the, by the school board, NASB. And so that's kind of the makeup of it, which is interesting to have a hybrid board.
So you beat him, and the governor wants to put him on the board with you beating him. So he was asking for your blessing, or
I think he would have done what he was going to do, but Mark
I would have said, hell no, I just whipped his ass.
But Mark is a good.
I ran against him because I think that the board deserves better.
See,
and you're going to go and circumvent him and put him back on the board after I just whipped his butt? You have the audacity to call me. Who the hell you think you are, governor? That's what I would have did if I was you.
Well, I didn't do that.
What did you do? You just say, oh,
no,
okay.
that's what I did. Listen up, man. Listen up. All right. Let's get you schooled a little bit. So no. I filed against Mark as we were running. I talked to him. I got to know him. It's like, man, this is a good dude. I like this guy. What you run against him for?
You were just bored, or what was going on?
I wanted to win, and I'm better anyway.
See, exactly my point. There you go.
There you go. But he's still a good guy. And, anyway.
I would have said, look, you can't find somebody better. I just whipped his butt.
They would have appointed him anyway, really.
But did you stand up for yourself? Did you do what I just said?
I didn't feel like I needed to get into a thing.
All right.
I didn't feel like I needed to get into a thing. And he was actually one of the better board members on there while I was there.
So you didn't see no problems with him before you ran?
Well, man, y'all are rough. Of course I did. Man.
Okay.
I see a problem.
So next time you don't speak up. Next time they try to do that to you. Next time you whip somebody's butt off the board.
You just get the bayonet.
Next time you whip somebody off the board, the governor's not going to tell you who he's going to put the same guy back on the board after you just whipped him. Right? You're going to say something next time. Right?
It's like a stab, man. Like here, You won, but here, I'm going to put him right next to you. We're not happy you won, but here you go.
They didn't expect me to win, man.
Oh, wow.
And I ran because, I know I can make a difference. Education in this state is all messed up.
Let me ask you.
There's a long way to go.
Let me just stop you right there. Member Cantù. You're on the board 4 years now.
Yep.
Okay. When you originally ran, you ran to make a difference.
Correct.
On the board.
Yeah.
Not your personal life.
Right.
Okay. So what kind of difference have you made so far while being on the board?
Well,
I'm going to do a fact check.
Fact check. Okay. So I think one of the most important things for me is the reorganization of the Clark County School District.
2015.
AB 469, 2017. That's the law.
Okay.
So so at the time in 2017, 2016, they were talking about breaking up the school district. Right. Which I don't think is necessarily a bad idea.
Right.
But
why don't you think that? I mean, why don't you think it's not necessarily a bad idea?
Well, my saying is Clark County is too big to succeed. Some things are too big to fail.
Too big for you.
Be 300,000. Okay, so when you look at our school districts, when they created the school districts in Nevada, they went by county. So you have Esmeralda with 96 kids, and they have Clark County with 300,000 kids, right? You need local control.
Gotcha.
Now, that's
Makes
what
sense.
I think. That's what I
Makes
think.
sense.
So with the reorganization, the focus there is on giving more control to the building, to the parents, to the people. So, the thing people remember the most about AB 469 is, the SOTs, school organization teams, who are looking at the budget. Some of the other things that are part of AB 469 is to have the people in the building control the 80% of the budget. I don't think we're there yet. The numbers can be made to say different things, but in essence, a lot of that is still controlled centrally. The other thing that AB 469 talked about was that the central office cannot force a teacher onto a campus without them wanting them there. Okay, so it gives the parents and the administrators, the teachers, more control. And so a lot of, I think what we did the most work on was to really push the district to comply with AB 469. I don't think they're 100% there yet.
And explain that in layman's terms. What does that mean, AB 469?
Yes.
What's the purpose of this?
So Assembly Bill 469 is called the reorganization law.
Okay.
And so with the reorganization law, they came out with basically 6 different provisions of the law to help decentralize the school district in a way to avoid having to break it up. I guess there was a push to break it up, and this was the compromise.
Well, what does that look like?
What does that look like?
Yeah, what does that look like? Less responsibilities for the superintendent. They're responsible for X amount of schools. Is it going to be like deans for every district, and they're responsible for that district, and then they report to the superintendent? What does that look like? The reorganization.
What does it look like? Really, it comes down to money and control going down to the buildings more. That's what the reorganization is focused on. That's what it's all about. So rather than decisions being made central, let's say you're Mesquite or Moapa.
Okay.
If you're up in Virgin Valley or if you're in Moapa, they should be able to pick who cuts their grass. They should be able to pick utilities if they're cheaper somewhere else, but they can't.
Before that, it was left up to the superintendent.
Well, everything is a lot of it is centrally controlled.
Okay.
So there's a lot of central control, and AB 469 is about giving the power of the purse and the power of staffing, the power of making strategic decisions, with the building on the hook for better outcomes.
Got it.
Yeah, but when you're talking about AB 469, I serve on the SOT team, which is at Rancho High School. And, some of these things, they haven't taken full fruition on what they're supposed to do. And it's great that, you worked on that. It's just that they're not implementing it correctly. So they take away a lot of powers from these principals and the parents as well. I do know that. Mm-hmm. And then they force them to use centralized services to surplus through them. And then they make them pay an application fee to the Bond Oversight Committee. Mm-hmm. And then they deny the application fee and then make them do it again and keep paying. And then they keep denying them. So, a lot of those central services, even though AB 469 did come out, I just think that, some of these people that have not, that did a great job pushing this, mm-hmm. They didn't do a great job enforcing it.
Well, see, so the Nevada State Board of Education, Department of Ed, are charged with, basically, holding the district to comply with the law. And I did want to mention one of the other things that I didn't previously about the AB 469 law, and that is that, at the end of the year, let's say they had some salary savings or something, the district used to be able to come in and sweep it. Right?
The carryover
money, come and sweep it.
Yeah.
So now, that's been, pretty much, set aside. I mean, there are issues with carryover dollars too, in terms of those dollars should be for instruction for kids today rather than your pet project 2 or 3 years from now. But by the same token, the fact that the district would sweep it was not a cool thing. It would be hurting those kids.
And I believe now it's if they don't use it within 2 years, they get it taken away.
I don't know for certain if that's the case, but what it comes down to is, the parents, the principals, the community needs to be involved in the decision making. They know what's best for their community. We need to empower them to do that. And I think that's one of the issues, like we were talking about, with having
that. How would you empower parents to get involved with the school?
Well, the school organization is one of the key team is one of the key things where you have parents who are a part of the budgetary team who are making decisions. That's what the SOT is. They're looking at the budget. They're talking to the principal. Do we do this or do we do that? They're having input from parents at a level that they haven't had before. But a lot of the problem is there isn't necessarily a will at central office to comply 100% with it. I mean, there hasn't been historically.
So what no, we all understand what the school board trustee does, in charge of all, the schools, the public schools from K through 12. And we all know what the regent does. They're in charge of all the colleges, UNR, UNLV, CSN, and all that, right? But exactly what does the Board of Education do? What is their job description? What are they supposed to do? Why are we electing these people? What do they do?
We need, the focus, it took me a couple of years to kind of figure out.
Please, enlighten
The biggest power that the State Board of Education has is the power of regulation.
But doesn't the other two do it, trustees and regents?
Well, they're controlling the district. They have say over the budget. They have one employee theoretically, right, the superintendent that they can hire or fire. Right. The state board is taking the laws that the legislature is passing, and our job is to pass regulation to help put those laws into effect. That's one piece. Isn't that why
lobbyists are for assembly, state senators? Isn't that their job? Why do we need the Board of Ed?
So, a lobbyist's job is to advocate for whoever's paying them, right? I mean, that's what the lobbyist's job is.
I'm talking about the assembly and the state senate.
Okay. Pass laws.
Yeah.
But then
why do we need the Board of Ed?
Why do you need the Board of Ed? We oversee... what is it? The state plan for the improvement of pupils. The focus of the state board is statewide. So we look at not just Clark County School District, but the state as a whole. I think we get a much larger view. And even though we don't have the power of the purse over the districts, we can, for example, right now we're working on this, the school start time survey. Have you heard about that?
Yeah. To start them later. The school start time later than earlier.
That's one of the things we're looking at.
Teenagers, they don't want to go to bed for one. And for two, they don't want to wake up early. They don't want to go to bed and they don't want to wake up early. Period. I have one at home.
So overseeing the reorganization was one. Passing regulation, overseeing the Nevada Department of Education. The teacher licensure. A lot of the things that come through have to go through us for us to look at them and make sure that they're solid. And I can tell you that what I can contribute to the board and what I contribute to the board is look at the decisions and look at the policies that are coming through and looking at it from the point of view of a parent. So when it comes through and they're saying, hey, we were talking about changing the age for identifying students with developmental delays, right? We were talking about that. And we were talking about changing the age, raising it upward. So there's more time to identify kids that have this form of disability, right? A developmental delay. When I look at that, I'm looking at it as a parent who has kids who have had 504s and IEPs. And I'm saying, one of the comments that I heard at that meeting was, well, if we don't raise the age, we're going to have fewer students with disabilities. And I just about lost my top because you still have the same number of students with disabilities. You're just not helping them. So what I'm doing is almost like bird dogging the thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, man, this isn't right. We need to we need to change that so that.
Let me ask you a question. I'm sorry, I remember Cantù. I have a short-term memory loss thing. If I don't say it, I'll forget it. But I understand the process of the school board of trustees. I understand the process of the university board of regent, and I understand what they do. But I'm not really understanding what the Board of Education does. What it sounds like to me is like they're a buffer between the regents, school board trustee, and the legislators.
Not the regents. I mean, the regents are higher ed. When you look at the regents, and the regents are also in the Constitution.
For the trustees, then but they all have lobbyists, though.
We're not a buffer. I think that's a misnomer. No, okay. We're not a buffer. We work in conjunction.
Do you regulate the criteria for professors to get their degrees and to teach in a certain area, subject matter? And do you do the same thing with teachers to regulate them and to provide their CLUs? I think it's a continuing learning education, CLEs, right? Is that the function of the Board of Ed, to make sure that everybody is up to standards or up to par to teach a specific subject at a specific university or public school?
Well, let me break it down. Maybe that'll help. Let me break it down.
Does that clarify? Because I'm just trying to get a handle on it.
Let me clarify a little more. Okay. So you were talking about college and university professors and standards and regents.
Right.
That is a completely different process. When you look at the regents, they're actually in the Constitution. And, there's that question about taking them out of the Constitution and making them like everybody else.
Well, in the state government. I got a thing for regents. I think if you want to be a regent, right, and it says higher education, I think that you yourself should have that same higher education on your resume, like a master's degree or a bachelor's degree. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to support higher education, then don't be a hypocrite about it. Be that person that has that higher education on their resume. Ain't that right, Byron Brooks? Anyway, so
okay, let me break it down, man. Give me a shot here. So the Clark County School District, the Clark County School Board,
right,
the 17 school boards that are across the state in the school districts, focus on helping to govern the district. Okay. Right? The State Board of Education plays a statewide role, I think, first of all. Second of all, we don't hire or fire the state superintendent for public instruction. Part of what we do is, we go through a selection process and provide the governor with 3 names that they can then select their state superintendent from. So
not like the Judicial Selection Committee that just gives one name and go against the Constitution and force the governor to appoint that person to the bench.
No, not like that. And so,
right.
And so then you got the legislature, right? And they're passing different laws that touch on education, right? Mm-hmm. Right. So, and what has to happen is that goes to the Department of Ed, and to the State Board of Education. The Department of Ed will write the policy or the regulation, and then they bring it to us, and then we go through a process of saying yes, no. We need to change this. The other thing, there are so many different things. We made a list of all the different responsibilities that we have that are state mandated. And there were like 3 or 4 pages of different things that we have to do. For example, the college career readiness exam is something that we selected. And that's another place where, do we want to select a college career readiness tool that is going to be useful to parents and students, or something else that maybe isn't as useful to parents and students? And that's where, my viewpoint is important to say, hey, why aren't we doing the ACT? We need to use the ACT as a tool for college career readiness, because then that kid can use that test score to go on to college and university, right?
Sorry to interrupt you. Couldn't they use international baccalaureate as well?
Well, you could use a lot of different things, but what is the most useful, right? I mean, that is the question. What can a family, and our kids are tested a lot, right? Yeah. So which tool is going to be most useful for them especially for low-income first-generation students, for them to be able to go to college or university. If you give them some other kind of test, and then they also have to take the ACT to go to college, you're just adding more tests.
Okay.
If you made the ACT the standard, which we did for college career readiness measurement, then the kid takes one test and it's one that they can use to apply for college.
Like the SBACs.
Like there's SBAC, there are different ones.
Okay.
Yeah. And so rather than doing a lot of different tests that can measure college career readiness, we're looking at one that is actually useful to families.
So do you guys control the curriculum that goes into the schools?
You know what? I don't know if you'd want statewide control of curriculum, would you? We obviously, the school select, we obviously review things for standards, all of the different programs. Let's say somebody has developed a program for auto mechanics.
Okay.
Right? It goes to NDE, then they present it to us, and it's like, here's the curriculum or the program they put together. And so we review it. Hopefully we have some subject matter experts, on the board that can help us say, yeah, this is good, this is not good. A lot of the times we depend on the feedback of experts who know about auto mechanics or CTE or whatever to help us make those decisions. But it's our job to review and approve and say, yeah, this is good, kind of thing.
So I got a question for you. Let's say a Korean company or a Korean, South Korean, not North Korea, come in and say, hey, we have we have a curriculum that does mine education. And they can prove with their own country statistics, with their education boards and everything like that. Would they bring that to you guys and say, hey, we want to do mine education, which actually aligns with social emotional learning? Would they bring that to you guys, and would you guys review it and then push it down, or would it go somewhere else and then come to you guys?
You can tell districts a lot, but you can't tell them much.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. There is that district control you have state standards. They have to meet that. We do have to review it, NDE. We work in partnership with NDE to review what people are teaching, how they're teaching it, as long as they align with our content standards, right? And now we have this portrait of a learner that we're talking about, in terms of what do we want young people to have when they graduate from high school, And
you're saying a lot of good, important things. What do we want them to have for exit? But the question is, if you guys deny some curriculum or deny some policies or deny something, could they still move forward with it without your permission and say, hey, we're going to do this anyway because we're the Department of Education and CCSD?
We work in partnership with the districts. I think that's very important because I'll tell you what, like I said, you can tell districts, but you can't tell them much. And the fact of the matter is, if I'm talking about local control, and then I'm sitting here telling you that the state should dictate everything that is taught, that's kind of a contradiction.
Yes.
Right? You need to have state standards. The curriculum that is used needs to meet state standards. For me, ultimately, can a young person who gets out read, write, function in the world? That's the most important thing. Do they have skills to go to work, show up on time? Can they work with other people? Can they solve a problem? Hell, can they pass a drug test?
Yeah.
Right? Can they do all these things that they need to do to function in life? I think that is what we need to think about in terms of expanding what education does. There's the basic literacy stuff, but then there's also you got to go out there and function in this world, kid. It's not going to be, behind a joystick or behind a computer keyboard. The world is different.
Unless you're a gamer.
Right?
Or keyboard warrior.
Or now with AI, that's changing things up too.
Who's in charge of regulating and approving books in the school libraries?
We actually just set up a task force to talk about the review of books.
Because
at the state board
books in the public schools that show graphic sexual content. That is very debatable.
What we would do at home.
Yeah, and some people says, don't tell us what our kids should read and can't read, but at the same time, the libraries are free for all. I mean, they walk in there and they could pull a book and they could.
Like which ones? I mean, which ones do you know that they've seen?
We had Camila Bywaters on the show, and Stephanie Phillips was the co-host, and they were talking. She had pictures of graphic book content. Yeah. Two males. One male is on the knees and in front of another male, so to speak.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. You get the picture. I mean, you want me to say it? I'll say it.
No.
Tell me you don't get the picture.
Spare.
I will say it. So you understand what I'm saying? So
you know what?
Who controls that?
Obviously not. Obviously, it's not controlled well enough, right? Like you're saying.
Obviously,
who would control it then?
But then when people bring that to the librarians' attention, they're like, "No, it could be in here." I mean.
Well, I think that,
bring in my Hustler magazine and leave a nice stand right there. There's a stand right there.
You guys.
Oh, Dios mío.
You know what?
¿Habla español?
Un poquito. No, the thing is, books need to be age appropriate. Right? I mean, they do, and we need to safeguard that. You can't be exposing young people to books that are inappropriate for them or their age group or whatever, who controls that? We're, like I said, we're forming a task force about the review of books on the State Board of Education. That is just now happening. I don't think anybody really controls it. Maybe the librarian controls it in terms of what books they order. Yeah.
And who do we complain to if we find a book that's very questionable?
Well, you should write your trustee or the state board or both, right? Your legislator. There are a lot of different places where you can go. What do you want to affect? The school? Do you want to have them pass a law?
Could they write it to you?
They certainly could, yeah.
And what's that? Email information.
Okay.
Or phone number, whatever you're comfortable.
Yeah, it's R. Cantù. Cantù for Nevada with a number 4.
And how you spell Cantù?
CANTU. Number 4, NEVADA.
Tell them I'm not doing this for me.
Cantù for Nevada.
I'm doing it for all those people out there.
At Cox.net.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you know something, bring it to my attention.
You mentioned that you're getting a task force. Who picks the task force? And is this task force consisted of things like the public board that the police have, some members of the public, some members of education, some members of this? I mean, who would be the person that's picking this task force? Because I wouldn't want somebody that could not empathize or sympathize with us as parents. We're all parents that, could see our point of view. And do you pick them, or whoever picks them, do they pick them in the aspect of, this is somebody that has worked in legislation for 30 years, but has no children and has 3 dogs and doesn't understand, the demographics of how to deal with children.
God, you guys. So
I'm sorry, I don't mean to put you in. Just questions because you were talking about the task force, and I just wanted to bring it up.
The task force on the state board, and we just talked about at the last meeting. And in terms of looking at the issue, at the problem, you have members of the State Board of Education. There are 3 of us that are going to begin looking at that. So we haven't taken any more action beyond that. So it's hard for me to sit and tell you exactly who, what, where. But
do you think that, it's like reinventing the wheel? It's doing the same thing over again. Albert Einstein said that was insanity. So if we have the people that are already allowing it to be in place and they are the task force, how do we create a change with this?
And I need to make a distinction here. We're looking at textbooks.
Okay.
Right? That's what we're looking at. That's what this task force is going to begin looking at and what the process should be to select textbooks. You have other states. Obviously, I'm from Texas originally.
Urban Texas?
No, I'm from Laredo.
Laredo.
I'm de la frontera.
Frontera.
That's right.
mucho español.
I know. He's covering it up on us, huh?
Mentiroso. Tú eres el mentiroso.
Remember to write your email in Spanish.
No, don't hold it against me. In terms of the library question, I would talk to the principal If you see a book that's offensive to you or your family, I would talk to the librarian. They may not be the most receptive, perhaps. Your trustee is another. You can come to us as well. But the ones who are going to have the most impact on the campus is going to be that principal, that trustee who can look into that matter, right? And the principal is the one who can probably go in, take the book out if it doesn't belong there, and get rid of it, right? Yeah. The trustee can write the school and have a conversation and so on, go through a process. It's going to be a lot quicker if you talk to the leader in the building and say, hey, there's this book that has graphic content, nudity, whatever, and it's not appropriate to the age of my child. Right?
Well, I want to give you an example. For instance, my son that's actually running for county commissioner, he was at Booker Roosevelt, Washington, I believe that's his, Booker Washington School, and the principal was playing a song that was sexual in nature. And I asked the principal not to play that song, and he said, I can do what I want to do. So, okay. So I got a petition together and I had everyone sign it, the parents, and then I gave it to the superintendent and to some of the chiefs or associate superintendents. But sometimes these principals will make a decision to say, this is my preference versus what the public really wants. And then they will fight you on those battlegrounds, and then at that point, who would we go to? Besides, the trustee, and you used to be a trustee, so for Clark County School District, then that sometimes your hands are tied, with certain things. You cannot just implement into a school, I want you to take this out now.
Right. A trustee can't go and tell the principal what to do. Only the superintendent can.
Yes.
Right?
And then if the superintendent just feels like, on one side, like some superintendents of the past, they were really great with certain things and other things they weren't, And it was one that came up through the school district not too long ago, Mr. Skalkowski. And, sometimes they'll look at their personal life and make a decision on our lives that will not reflect what we see as parents. So then at that point, who do we go to?
You make noise, man. Seriously, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Let's really be honest here, right? I have to tell you, if you're getting resistance, you make noise. That's what you do. If something is not no, but see, let me kind of go on here.
I'm just trying to help all the viewers that don't know this, and this is
how to make noise.
That they don't.
And the thing is, if you make noise in a way that makes people feel threatened, you're going to get kicked out of the building anyway.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to say I don't think it's a school's place or a teacher's place to teach values. I remember sitting when I was on the CCSD board. I remember one of the trustees talking about, well, our part of, as educators are here to teach kids values. Aside from honesty, integrity, patriotism, those kinds of things, aside from all of that, it's not the school's place to teach values, right? Whether your parent is an atheist, a Satanist, a Catholic, it doesn't matter what they are. They have a right to teach their kids the values that they have.
America, God bless America.
God bless America.
It's freedom of religion, man. That's what we're talking about. You teach your children.
As long as you don't push your religion on me, I'm cool with you. The minute you start trying to preach to me, I'm like, yo, back off, brother.
Thank you. I'm with you. I'm with you.
And, that's what I wanted to point out. I wanted people to see that you are also explaining, these processes that we have to go through and that you're transparent with us.
Well, let me tell you a story. I'm in this education. Oh, come on, man. So, I ran for office because just a lot of sheer frustration with, my experience as a parent of kids in the Clark County School District.
Did you say her?
I have two, 16 and 24.
Did you mention that in your bio?
I'm mentioning it now.
Yeah, I actually think he did online. It says that he has a violinist.
Not the bio.
Or a sax player.
Yeah, and the
other one is software programming.
There you go.
Very proud of my kids. But I'll tell you what, one of my kids, my older kid, had a 504 with an IEP.
Yeah.
Right? And
you mentioned that on there.
Extremely bright. But the fact of the matter is, I had to go and fight it was Southwest CTA. I'll just say who it was. The algebra teacher there refused to give my child the accommodations that they had deemed.
Yes.
Right. And it was March of that year, and we were still fighting for accommodations. I'm like, this is,
What do you think? Are they going to like take the personal involvement? Oh, we're not going to give you accommodation.
I'll tell you what.
Or are they lazy?
I think that they make judgment, value decisions about you and your kids.
Personal stuff.
Yeah, and let me tell you, for me, I went into education. I went into doing what I do because I really didn't like what I saw happening in school. So
when you say went into education, what does that mean?
I'm going I've been doing this 35 years, man. I've been helping young people who are at risk to graduate and go on to college or go on to career.
What's your degrees look like?
So I have a bachelor's and a master's and a doctorate in higher ed administration.
You're a doctor?
Yeah.
We could have put doctor on this thing. What's going on?
You don't have to show up, man. You can just.
Like Stavros Anthony, our lieutenant governor. He has a PhD. I call him Dr. Anthony. He's like, oh, I'm not a doctor. I'm like, I know you're not going to like put me back to life or anything. I already know that, but you're a doctor in education.
I'm proud of it.
Exactly.
But see, here's the thing. When I was
call you doctor instead of member. Remind me if I said
Dr.
member, say doctor.
So when I was in high school, I had a counselor tell me, because I was skipping school a lot, hanging out with my buddies. My parents were going through their divorce thing. I was totally. I was I was a knucklehead in high school. That's just the truth, right? Doing all the wrong things.
You were on the job.
No, I was a black T-shirt, Judas Priest.
Just throw him a guitar.
British Steel. Yeah, that was me. I was like the kid they wanted to kick out of school, and the guy said the counselor said
he goes and wears his shirt. I break necks and collect checks.
No, the counselor said you should drop out because you're not going anywhere. You're not doing anything. And I'm like, to hell with this guy, And part of the reason I went into education was, how a lot of people will believe a counselor if they tell them, hey, you're not going to amount to anything. You're dumb. You're stupid. I see it every day in the schools. Kids are given these messages either out loud or tacitly, and that they're not good enough, that they're not school material, that they're not valuable. And they're like, you know what? I'm no good. I'm dumb. I should drop out or I shouldn't do anything. That's why I went into this work. Huh?
Makes them insecure.
Right. And so you have people who go into, like, let's say the trades or something. It's like, for a long time, those people felt like, well, I wasn't smart enough to go to college. I'll tell you what, some of the smartest people I know have gone into the trades. And that's not a measure. Your career is not a measure of your IQ. And who is someone else to tell you or to tell your kid that they're not good enough? And I went into that's why I went into this.
To weigh on that, the actual kid that's running for county commissioner, his counselor told him, you should just drop out.
Oh boy.
That's what I was told.
At Rancho, he told him, you should drop out. You're just wasting my time. You're wasting all students' time.
They said that to Biggie Smalls. And
they told him
multi-millionaire.
Yeah, and I couldn't believe it. And I told him, I said, are you insane? Don't tell my son that.
So are you going to let your life be determined by a high school guidance counselor? No offense to them, but for someone's value judgment, for them to lay it on you or your parents or your children, that is not their place. The place of education is to provide every young person with the opportunities to learn at equal levels. And if you've got more things against you, if you're low income and, you have a learning disability or whatever, our schools are supposed to be designed to provide those extra supports to give you the same opportunities as the kid with all the privileges. But obviously, when you look at the results of our education system, we're not seeing that. We're seeing if you're wealthy and privileged, you're going to do really well. And if you're middle class or poor or whatever, then you're going to do less well. That's not the way it should be. That's why I'm in education, because education should be kind of the way that you find prosperity, you overcome poverty, you build a life that you want to do. You do what you want to do.
The parents are the driving force to a child's education. I believe wealth has a part in it, but I believe that majority of that is the parent, because the teachers listen to the parents that are involved. Mm-hmm. Right. I remember with my two boys when I was raised in elementary school, and I go to a teacher, they're like right there, Jimmy on the spot. But I hear rumors about other kids that the parents are not even involved with their kids, and the teacher, because of that, the teacher is not really involved with the student because the parent is not involved, and they're like, why am I wasting my time? I'm not getting any time from the parents. You know, I put this for the parent to come and meet with me, and no parent shows up. So why am I going to put my time? I'd rather put my time in the kids that the parents that actually are involved. And that's how a lot of these teachers think.
They think, but that's, and you're right. The most important teacher that a child has is their mom and their dad or whoever, grandma, whoever's raising them. That is the most important teacher that you have.
Hey, go to school. Yeah. Don't be a fool.
Exactly. And I'll tell you what, I work with high school kids, that need some additional help to graduate and to find a pathway, right? That's what I do. And I'll tell you what, when you give a young person, first of all, treat them like they're valuable. Give them a sense of community. And then you hold them accountable and you give them structure and you tell them, cut that out. Don't do that. Do this instead. They crave that structure. They crave that accountability. They crave that support. And they crave that, reinforcement that you're valuable and you're good. They need that. That's the most important thing. It's like if you don't care for somebody, you're going to let them do whatever they want. If you care for somebody, you're going to guide them, right?
I need to say this because I don't know if this is in your wheelhouse, Dr. Cantù, but I don't know if you're familiar too much with the juvenile system, but when you have teenagers and kids in the juvenile system, I don't know if you guys govern that or have some type of say. But there used to be before COVID, there used to be a boot camp program for juveniles that was having problems in school and therefore became on the criminal element and therefore became in the judicial system and in the CCSD or the juvenile system, whatever.
Yeah.
So this boot camp program was pre-COVID, and it was working for years. And ever since COVID came and went, the juvenile program was a boot camp program. The boot camp,
the one over there by High Desert.
Yeah. And then they go to Mount Charleston, do all this camp and stuff. Anyway, all of a sudden this program is just vanished.
Yeah.
Does the Board of Education have anything to do with that or make a phone call? I mean, because it's about kids, and these are kids that are in these boot camp programs, school age kids, maybe high school kids, or sometimes junior high school kids. Could they make a phone call to find out the status of this boot camp program and maybe reinstitute it back into the system? Because it was a good program. It was helping so many kids, now it's gone.
Yeah, that's a bummer. And so
I'm asking you, Dr. Cantù.
So I know, I hear you. So in my day job, we were working on setting up JAG programs at Spring Mountain Youth Camp. And COVID hit and things shut down. The state board itself does not have, we oversee, the schools. We have some, oversight of the schools, but we do not have the power to say, do this or don't do that, right? So we can't tell,
You're influencer, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. But absolutely, I think where we need to go is to look at those young people that without help, they're going to get into recidivism, right? They're going to repeat what they're doing. They're going to go out there. And I think that the programs, for example, that I run with JAG would be very effective for young people who are adjudicated youth, who are juvenile offenders, who need some job skills, need some training, and some accountability.
But before you get to job skills and training, you got to get to discipline and respect. And if they don't have that, then you could throw all these job skills at them and they're not going to. They got to gain discipline, they got to gain respect. And that was what the boot camp program was all about, to instill discipline and respect into these young minds that are a criminal element because they're going down the wrong. The thing about preventive maintenance, you got to catch it before it happens. You don't wait till it happens and then try to catch it. I mean, just like a dinging in your car, you hear tick, 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 tick. Oh, I better go check that shit out. It could be my battery, it could be my alternator. If I wait, it's going to be worse. I could be stranded on the road. So you got to catch these things, early. As soon as you see a problem, you got to, okay, now how could I rectify this?
I'd like
that
to
boot
see
camp program worked. It worked. It's not like a failing infrastructure they had. It was failing, and these kids. No, it was actually working.
Was
and
it through the
bringing
county?
self-esteem.
Was it through the county?
Yes,
or?
it was working. It was bringing self-esteem. It was installing discipline. I mean, and it was keeping these kids in shape. You go over there. You're about 10 years old, 5'2", weighing 220 pounds. Time you get done, you probably weigh about $150. You know what I mean? You get back. I mean, it was a program that they had former Marines and veterans that was running these programs, and it was a good program. It was working, and I don't see why they got rid of it. And nobody's not hollering and say, hey, we need to bring these programs back. And they talk about how crime is going up. I mean, we're talking education, we're talking about children, and we're talking about school-age children, and that's why I'm bringing it to your attention.
Well, I'd like to find out more about what happened to the program. I don't have details
Could you
about
do
it. Yeah, I will do that.
All right.
Yeah, I will do
What's
that
the ETA on that? What time are you gonna get back to me? Because I don't like 2026. So I'm like, hey, Dr. Cantù, what's going on?
30 plan?
You didn't give me a time on that. All right, let's go November of 2024.
I'll look into it, man. I will. Give me a few weeks, but something to look into.
Check on it.
I'm actually talking to. Do you know Jazz Jones?
No, it sounds like a movie star.
Yeah, the dude
Jazz
is a star.
Jones is starring.
Yeah, he runs a core program.
Okay, what is that?
And they help young people in the schools, a lot like what I do with Jag.
And I'm gonna send you a copy of this taping. That way you can see. You could go rewind and go back. Oh yeah, shoot, I better make that call. I made that call.
Yeah. Usually,
Yeah, you don't want Steve showing up to the next meeting and saying, "Didn't we have this conversation?"
Like, this dude didn't do.
Where do you guys hold your meeting? Is it open to the? It's got to be open to the public because you guys are elected.
Meeting law. Yeah.
How come we don't? Have you ever heard of a board of education
meeting? No. I've been to Joan Ebert's meetings.
Yeah, we never heard of a board of education.
So you know where her meetings are in East Flamingo?
Yes.
Those are our meetings.
Okay.
East Flamingo. You talking about where the trustee holds their meetings?
No.
You have Desert Breeze,
Yeah.
Desert Springs Hospital. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Right across the way from it. We're probably
you got
a
an
mile.
exact address so people can show.
Not off the top.
Do you have a website?
I have been there, and
Look it up.
what I've seen was that those rooms are as dead as the
You
morgue.
probably got 4 chairs in there.
Then no, they have over like 60 chairs in there
Right.
with one person sitting in there, which was me at one point.
Yeah.
But it's not because people are not interested.
They don't.
It's because
know.
people don't know about
and
it.
they're not as transparent
And
as
I think-
CCSD. CCSD is always posting
and I think
everywhere.
And I think that's how they plan it. They don't want nobody to show up. They want to be able to run their agenda.
We don't want to turn.
They want to be able to run their agenda how they see fit. This guy coming public comment.
Looking for the address, man. I'm all messed
He
up.
doesn't even know the address. Sit your butt down. You ain't doing no public comment. Are you crazy? You one person in here. We don't even have you on channel 4.
And even when I did public comment, sometimes it hits deaf ears, and some of the things I have. And I'm not going to say all the members, and especially.
Because there's nobody there.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, do we take the, what is that?
Am I right or wrong?
Minority over the majority?
If you had 30, 40, 50 people
I'll tell you
coming
what.
in there, complain about some agenda item that's on the internet that you guys are going to vote on, they don't like it. It's hard to say I'm going to go against them. But if you got an agenda item you want to pull and you have nobody sitting there to object to it, it's so easy to go ahead and check that box.
But I'll tell you what, though. I answer to like 500,000 people who live in the congressional district. That's who I answer to. So yes, we're going to listen to people who are there, and we want people to participate.
And if they're
but
not,
those 50 people are not going to determine my vote. My job is to represent a constituency
you
and
got
make the best
strong
decision I can.
50. It's like these county commission meetings. You've seen them. You got like 100 people show up, everybody one after the other, and they get like 2 minutes now. You're supposed to get like 5, but they knocked it 3. But since there's so many, they get 2. And if you repeat the same thing, they turn off your mic. You get 1 minute. And you got 100 people show up. No, we don't want that casino at the end of our block. No, we don't want that casino. Then We
The
don't want
sphere.
that casino. We don't. And everybody, and the county commission goes, well, is there any more?
We don't
Is-
want F1 blocking our business.
Is there any more public comment? Is there any more public comment? Is there any more public comment? Oh, close public comment. Public comment is closed. Let's take a vote. Everybody vote. Yes, we're going to have that casino there. What the hell? You had 50 people. They don't even have a discussion. It's like it was already made before they even show up on camera and sit in their chair and have a meeting. They already knew how they were going to vote. He's like, damn, this guy's on to me.
I don't think so. I don't think so. No, we want more public participation. That's for sure.
How do we do that?
How are you going to put it out there?
How are we going to do that? I mean, you said you have half a million.
What kind of media do you guys use to get it out there? I like to know that one. To get it out there to the public.
So geez, man. Dudes, what the hell?
No, come on.
And he's our endorsed candidate too.
Well,
you imagine if we had your opponent sitting there, we'd be like sitting closer. Like, oh.
I think I'll hit the door.
So with the school start time,
Okay.
all of our meetings are streamed online, so anybody can tune in.
Yeah.
They can provide
Time is your meeting
public
during
comment in
working
person. Yeah, 2 to 6, usually 2 to 6.
It's like,
But do they do it public? Like, is there like a Facebook Live or
It's the whole thing?
Yeah.
I mean, they do the whole thing. So with the school start times, we were trying to get more feedback and input. We did town halls. You have 15 people show up, 30 people show up. So how can we make a decision if a handful of people show up that's going to affect everybody?
You need to talk to your PR people and your media people and the people that's actually supposed to be getting the information out to the public. Maybe you need to talk to them, have a conversation like, look, how you guys getting it out to the public? Let me see your email list. What? 40? Man, my district, I got like 500,000. What do you mean you only got 40 people on your email blast? You need to find out how they do it. That's where I would start with my media people. How you communicating with the public?
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, they publicly put it in libraries across the city and the county. But nobody goes to that board and go look and say, let me look for a meeting on the board.
Everybody's on here looking at Kindle, right? They don't have a library anymore.
I mean, wait, maybe you guys should have like a TikTok.
Maybe so. I mean,
do you put,
where are the people
on social media like Facebook, LinkedIn, and all that?
Because I'm in the east side of Dr. Cantù, I'm in the east side of Las Vegas. And, you're Hispanic.
Yep.
And you understand.
Italian.
Okay, you're Italian. Just kidding. So you understand that there is a communication breakdown with Hispanic families and
Absolutely.
public entities, whether it's the school board or whether it's your board or whether it's the state board or whatever board it is, or even a commission, whatever it could be, and it's like, do they really reach out to the schools in those particular areas and say, we want to hear you, your voice is important, what you have to say about your child's education. Hispanics really care about education. They're very big on education. Their engagement is very low because of their language barrier issues with, the schools and different things. But, how do we reach them and how would you reach them so that their input could be instructionally, help with
you have to give it a lot of thought, man. When you think about, one, parents are going to get home, right? They're going to be tired. They're going to fix up dinner. So you have to do it at the right time, which I think is important. I know we could do a better job getting more people to provide feedback for us. And I think a lot of it is people don't understand what we do or why we do it. And I think part of it is explaining, it's like, we're going to make decisions that are going to affect your morning routine if we make that decision, right? All of a sudden, do you drop your kid off in the dark? What are you going to do? So we're going to have a very real impact in your life. First of all, you need to know that.
Well, how
Second
about
of all,
how about we have schools host it and you have live things on the school? Because we actually have in the boardrooms, we have actually where people can stand up in there and you can see them and hear them at the same time. So now the transportation doesn't become a problem. Or even if they live, for instance, on Stewart and Sunrise Elementary is right there, they can go, or even Roy Martin, they can go over there and sit in there and say, yeah, we're going to speak here and you guys will hear us there. You know, could you, talk to your PR guy or someone and say, hey, we need to implement something that's going to be more conducive to everybody's involvement?
I know they're trying, but I don't think we're necessarily, obviously, doing it in a manner where we're getting the response we need. So that's the truth. So it's good, but it ain't good enough, right? We need to do better.
Get free tacos.
Hey, Dr.
You had me at free tacos, man.
There you go.
We're how about spaghetti and meatballs? Why it's got to be a taco?
Well, we'll do spaghetti meatballs at Roy Martin, man. We could do tacos at Sunrise.
So spaghetti.
Then we could do black eyed peas in West Side Las Vegas.
So you were at our endorsement interview, right?
Yep.
Were you by yourself or were your opponent with you? I don't remember.
My opponent did not show up.
You're by yourself?
I was there by myself, yeah.
And you answered the tough
I
questions?
show up. Suit up and show up.
Shut up and suit up.
Suit up and show up. That's what you do.
answer the tough questions, right?
Tried.
Okay. And we don't even have to go with somebody that shows up by themselves. We could go with a no endorsement if we wanted to. That's one of our. But apparently you impressed the panel that was there. So, usually we present our endorsements to you while at one of your events. Mm-hmm. That way your people could see, and now we're starting to put it live on Facebook to try to get more attention towards our endorsed candidate. And then we had a mixer the other day. Weren't you there at the mixer?
No.
You wasn't at the mixer?
No.
That's right, you wasn't at the mixer.
I'm just mixed up.
At a Cuban place, and I was looking for you.
See, that's the problem. Cuba should have been Mexican.
Lingo Michoacan.
And I didn't see you because according to my guy, Robert Madoff, he does a hell of a job calling people up and getting people to show up. He said you were going to be there. So we went ahead and made you an official endorsement plaque because you said you were going to be there, but you weren't there. I don't know. You got stuck in traffic. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't make it.
You eat your Cheerios. I don't know what happened to you.
Diabetes, you mean?
So, but we had it made, so I can't just keep it in my house.
I want it, man.
And I gotta, we and
$39.95.
That Chris, that trophy place that I go to on West Charleston, I forget my trophy guy does an excellent job putting these plaques together, and I've known him for many years. His name is Chris. His last name escapes me, but he ran for school board, and we became friends. And he gives me a really good deal on all of these.
$35.99.
All these plaques. Yeah, he gives me a good deal. He gives me a good deal. So I wanted to read it.
Yes.
And present it to you. Okay. While you're here on the show. We don't normally do this. This is not our normal behavior, but. Like I said, we already made them, and I got to give them away. So, Rene Cantù, member state board of...
Cantù?
Well, this one doesn't say that on
it. Okay.
If I knew
you told me to correct you.
If I knew that in the head... Oh, that's true. Good listener. If I knew that... See, that's one of the first things about being an educator. You got to be a really good listener. And a very good listener.
Man, I'm cooked. Sorry. Anyway.
The next time you run or whatever you deem to run for, please remind me,
Dr. Cantù,
if and when he gets our endorsement to make sure it says doctor.
When? Come on, man.
Doctor. Well, I got to say that because we never know.
You have to go through
I don't see you shaking the game yet.
Because your opponent, your opponent got it a few times and now you did. So Mark Newburn, he's
a good guy.
He's a good guy, but he shouldn't have been on the same board with you because.
Yeah.
If I was the governor, I wouldn't even ask you to do that. Like, governor, would you actually want somebody to do that to you? He sat on regents. And
let's make your lieutenant governor your opponent.
Yeah. Let's do that to you.
I can't say it was a cool thing to do.
No, it wasn't a cool thing to do. I wouldn't even had you entertain that conversation. I would have found me somebody else. I mean, there's like what 2-point-something million people in this state, and the only one he could find is somebody you whipped.
Exactly.
Can't find another educator, another smart person around to put on the board, really?
Yeah.
Give me a break. Probably was a favor. Who knows? Anyway, Dr. Rene Cantù.
That's me.
Just for member state of Board of Education, District 3, endorsed by Veterans in Politics International, Nevada Democratic Veterans and Military Family Caucus, Nevada Veterans Association, and the Armed Forces Chamber PAC.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. I would stand up, but then we'd be out of view of the camera.
And I'll just say thank you to all the 4 different organizations.
Yes.
You know, the support of veterans is very important, you know, for my campaign. You know, in the work that I do, we encourage a lot of young people to follow the military as an important path, you know, to build a good life, to build a career, that kind of thing. So, and we're grateful, you know, for what the veterans do for all of us. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. There are ROTC programs in a lot of these high school magnet schools, right? Is there any in the college program, in the college setting?
Yeah, there are. I believe there are. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're in high school, JROTC, and then you have at the university. Not sure about you.
Military type of school up north?
I don't know.
You don't know?
There is, you know, up north, there is a program where it's like a military style boot camp for young people, you know, who need that kind of residential thing. And I can't recall the name of it.
Well, Dr. Cantù, I wanted to thank you for coming on the program. And thank you, Mr. David Gomez, for co-hosting.
No, thank you for enduring.
But if you look into the camera and tell folks why they need to go to the voting booth and vote for you, and any point of contact you'd like to give them.
Okay, you got it. So anyway, thank you all for watching this fun and interesting and conversation. I hope I hope I can earn your vote. I'm focused on representing students and parents. Having that point of view, I think, is the most important thing. I think the mindset of a public servant is important, that you bring to it, you know, kind of a certain attitude and not get caught up, you know, with special interests, not caught up with, getting bogged down with policy, getting bogged down with all kinds of things, and really looking at how the decisions that we make are going to affect young people, or are going to affect families, you know. And so a lot of my platform, you know, focuses on, first of all, you know, improving student achievement. How do we do that? We do that, you know, through better wraparound supports. You know, I also advocate for better funding for education, K-12 education. You know, you get what you pay for. And if we're last or near last for investing in education, then we're going to get near last results in achievement. So I think that's one important thing. Wraparound supports are important. Mental health support is important for young people. For me, one of the most important things is making sure that education teaches young people about how to work, how to function in life. You know, so a lot of my focus of late has been, how do we connect young people, not just to college and university, but also into trade and technical schools, apprenticeships, and other opportunities that will minimize their student loan, you know, and maximize their economic prosperity. And I think that's what education is all about. It's about helping people find prosperity, build a good life, drive a pickup truck, you know, not have a student loan wrapped around your neck. I mean, that's what education is supposed to help you do. So thank you very much. Appreciate you guys.
And I, David Gomez, approve this message.
Thank you both for coming on.
Thank you.
Folks, that was Rene Cantù, Nevada Board of Education, District Number 3. And we have all 4 veterans organization have endorsed Dr. Cantù because he's a very worthwhile individual to sit on the Board of Education. He's educated, he's knowledgeable, he has some really good ideas, and he's the incumbent that's sitting there currently, and he wants to continue bringing more fresh ideas to the Board of Education. We encourage everybody that live in Congressional District 3 to go out and vote for Dr. Rene Cantù. If you don't live in Congressional District 3 and you know somebody that lives in Congressional District 3, please give them a phone call or forward this interview to them so they can know exactly who they're voting for. And it's very important, folks, to educate yourself on all these candidates that are out there. Don't go by what anybody tells you unless it's Steve Sampson, but just go by on videos or any feedback you could get from Google, or, you know, when you Google all these candidates and find out about them, and just do your research and then go to the voting booth armed with knowledge about each candidate before you vote for them. Again, this is Steve Sampson with David Gomez, Veterans in Politics. Until next time.